What's up, everyone? This is Tatum. I'm back with another episode of Fuck This Review, where today I'm going to be discussing Rick Ross' new album, Richer Than I Ever Been. Pardon me, but I had to do the Ross impression. Wow, this is another episode of Fuck This Review. I can't believe this is my first Ross album that I'm reviewing. It's kind of crazy. Maybe I should do Teflon or something. My first thoughts immediately is that I thought the album was okay. I don't know what I expected from the album, but a title like Richer Than I Ever Been, you know, Ross always has these like crazy album titles, Teflon Don, Only God Forgives I Don't. I thought it was going to be more of a like Santorini, Greece style kind of album. When I left the album, I just felt like I don't know what it was. I'm just like, what was that? It gave off more of a mixtape vibe to me more than anything. But that's not to say that it wasn't some great records on here or some good records on here. It's just that I just felt like it wasn't really cohesive, especially after the first couple records. The album kind of just goes wherever. I'm not going to take up too much of your time. I'm going to go through the track list. I'm going to talk about some of the things I loved about the album, and of course talk about the things I didn't enjoy so much. If you're not a subscriber already, please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Got a lot of dope content on this channel, so check it out. This is Rick Ross' 11th album. Like, you know how crazy that is, that this is his 11th album. Like, 11 albums for a rapper is kind of like, it's like Hove, LL Cool J kind of levels in a way. But the first record, Little Havana, which was I think like the second single they leaked from the album, which I don't know why rappers are doing that. It's like the Meek Mill's thing. It's like everybody seen how successful his intro was and everybody wants to copy that formula. But I would have rather heard this song first, just listening to the album, because the song itself isn't bad. Really Falcone on it, which I thought was dope but weird at the same time, because Ross is like taking this role of being like the biggest boss you ever seen thus far to a whole new level, right? That record's produced by Boy Wonder. I really did enjoy that one. He has a couple lines in that record that I'm still trying to figure out, like the Meek Mill's line when he said something like, even let these rappers get closer to Meek, and before that he talks about niggas selling their souls but they still on the leash or something like that. I was like, because you know all the tension that's been talked about between him and Meek recently. But I was like, what does that mean? And then he sent shots at Omarion too. That was kind of like unnecessary shot like, for no reason. And Ross was, one thing I had to say about this album is that Ross hasn't really lost a step. So the things that I hate about the songs don't really have nothing to do with his rapping ability, because I think he just sounds good. Like Ross just has a dope flow that just sounds good pretty much on anything. And that goes into, speaking of which, going into Pulitzer, produced by Timbaland, and that one's hard. That's probably one of my favorite records on here. Probably is my favorite. I just love that bounce of that beat and the way he's just going off Timbaland 250 a beat. Like the way he caught that flow on there. It makes me wonder why him and Timbaland don't work more often together. I know they did, what was it, what was that song? Something about bass, moving bass, and the whole Magna Carta record, of course. But Ross sounds good on those Timbaland beats. Like, and that beat is hard. That's a hard Timbo beat. Rapper's Estate I thought was really good, but I want to Joe Budden kind of ruined it for me because he made me notice how bad it was mixed. So when I listen to it, it's like really great, but then I'm like, oh yeah, it does sound kind of flat on certain parts. But which was another weird thing, is like for your 11th album, and I'm not sure if he said this, I'm just gonna throw this out there that he said it, but because every rapper says it, but I thought this album was gonna be like one of Ross's, to put him back into that limelight of one of those great MCs. Like, even with the cover, it was like weird. Ever since he got on Epic, it's been weird. Like, so even with the cover, when he released the cover with the white cover, and I'm gonna put the white cover on this review because I don't like that green cover. The green cover like has no, it's just a cover. Like, it's whack. Like, I don't understand that. If anybody in the comments know what happened with the last minute cover change, let me know. But the joint with Benny, it is dope though, because Benny went off, and it's just good to hear those two on there. They make a good combination on the record. Benny's talking his shit like crazy, bro. Like, I think he has my best line on here, but I'll save it for later in the episode. And even Ross coming back with the second verse, I thought was dope. Like, just to hold up that torch. It just sounded good. Like, it sounded like a good record. Marathon is what I wanted the album to sound like the whole time. For some reason, I know what this is, but that's the Ross I love. I love the Santorini Grease Ross. I love the Devil in a New Dress Ross. I love the gotta get away from here. I like that vibe Ross. Even though he has a song like Wiggle on here, which I understand too, because he's from Miami. Like, that's that bass music is their music, so I understand how that's always in his soil. And the way he flows on that beat is just crazy. The way that he can find that pocket, like, he's a master of flows and finding pockets. It's like, and the master of saying like the most, making everything sound like it's luxury, like Jay-Z-esque in a way. Like, everything Hov says, it sounds like it's a luxury added to it. Marathon is one of the ones if the whole album sound like that, like, because he's getting his shit off. Like, it lets you know where he's at, where he talks, not on this song, but certain songs on here where he talks about like his managers and certain friends and, you know, just overgrown things. And, yo, I'll get to it, but Richer Than I Ever Been is not just about the money aspect of it all. It's about, you know, life, like mentally and everything, spiritually. It's richer than I ever been in life. So that's the aspect I thought he was going to go in the whole time. Warm words in a cold world. They could have just named it Alaska. Like, just name the song Alaska. Again, that's a Bink beat, but it's not one of my favorite Bink beats, especially Ross and him. It allows you to pay attention to the words and flow. So Ross kills it. I like Wale's verse, but the highlight of that to me is how Future sounded on it. Now, mind you, it's not one of the best Future verses I heard, but just to hear him on different textures of songs, I thought that was just dope. And then from that point, I think the album takes a hit. So we get into the Wiggles, we get into the Can't Be Broke, which is not bad, but it doesn't sound like a Raw song to me. It sounds like he was just letting the young boys get their shit off, which is dope too, but it's a skip. Made It Out Alive it's a cool record too. It's something that I'm like, I want to really like it. Like, I do. I really, really want to like it, and there's nothing bad about it, but I'm not in love with it. Like, I don't necessarily want to listen to it, if that makes sense. Outlaws is the first one we heard, and I enjoy that we're starting to hear Jasmine. Well, I hope this is the beginning of hearing Jasmine Sullivan just do hooks and just extend the olive branch to more artists and start collaborating, because I think she sounds beautiful on this record. And Ross has a good eye for and a good ear for production and how a person should sound here and things of that nature. So that was just dope to hear her on the Ross record, for one. Two, 21 Savage went the fuck off. Like, his verse stood out to me on this record more than Ross. And maybe that's the thing too. Like, the features on here, let's say the Bennies or the 21 Savages, their verses are or the Futures, their verses are standing out more to me than Ross on the album, and that's kind of throwing me off as a Ross fan, you know. But that one was dope. That's Outlaws, one of my favorites on here, and I don't usually pick the singles as favorite records. Imperial High, for that to be a tune beat, I didn't really feel it. Yeah, for that to be a tune beat, I really just didn't feel it. Even though I love what Ross is saying on the record. Like, but if the music itself is not giving me anything for real, and then going to Richer Than I Ever Been to be the title track, I do like him popping this shit at the end, talking about other rappers that, you know, sold more records than him, but I'm richer than y'all. And then it kind of takes away. See, statements like that take away from the real message, because then you cloud it. You can't say at one end is deeper than rap and money, right? Like, that was just a pun. But to say it's deeper than just the title Richer Than I Ever Been as face value, but then you drag it back down to that. But, you know, that's rappers' arrogance. Like, that's and that could have been the last record, but he ended it with the Wiz Khalifa record. And that record, what? Like, why was that the record that you ended the album with? That's what made me feel like this album, it just made me feel like this album is not like, if the artist is in a state, I'll just say this. If you're an artist and, you know, obviously your income, Ross, he has 30, 50 businesses alone outside of rap. Don't tell me that, you know, this is going to be my best work to date and things of that nature, because you did it with Port of Miami 2 and you did it with this one. And it's like, nah, man, like, or just don't put anything out. And if you're contractually obligated to put something out, or you're just being artistic, just say that. We can accept it the way that it is. But to me, I like my legends to live and prosper. And like, Ross is just dope, man. I just want a really great album from Ross, like, and not this, like a really classic, one more classic. I'm always rooting for the the falling rappers. This is gonna sound harsh, but I'm always rooting for the rappers on the downhill to get me one more, like, just one more classic. You know how many times Hov like kind of fell, dipped in albums and came back up? Kingdom Come, American Gangster, Magna Carta, 444, like it's so many. Blueprint 2, Black Album. Like, I always wish for them to succeed again with just classic music, but it is what it is at this point, you know? I'm rambling for things that I want from the artists that they don't want for themselves. But let me get into my favorite songs. The Pulitzer, Rappers Estate, Outlaws. Worst song, it gotta be Wiggle. Even though Dream Doll verse was pretty cool, still the worst song on here. Best line, he said, yo, I came home with a connect and got started abruptly. That's 5 figures off a chicken. I bought a Kentucky. We did that twice and invested in artists that's hungry to change a young nigga life and launder the money. That's such an ill bar. What would I give this album? Far as fucks given, rating wise, I'm gonna give this album 2.5, 3. I just want more from my legends. 2.5, so I'm gonna give him the hard one. Even though I love Ross, it's like, But let's wrap this up though. In closing, when it comes to Rick Ross, Richer Than I Ever Been, like I've been saying constantly through this review, it's a cool album. It's nothing that it doesn't add anything to Rick Ross' legacy. It doesn't add anything to Rick Ross' legacy, and the truth is, it doesn't take anything away from Rick Ross' legacy at this point. You know what I mean? For me personally, as a fan of Rick Ross, I would enjoy all the legends that I enjoy. I would just love to see the effort and I don't even know what effort he put in this, but it sounds like it wasn't a lot. And when you amp it up to be like, I know every rapper say this is my best project, but make it your best project if you really want to believe that, and stop using that as a marketing tool to sell or get people to listen. But it's Ross. If you're a Rick Ross fan, this is cool. Like, it's nothing that's, I don't know where it ranks as far as 11 albums. It'll be hard for me to do that, but I don't know if I enjoyed it more than, Port of Miami 2. And that's saying something, right? But let me know what you thought of the new Rick Ross album. Let me know some of your favorite records on here. Let me know some things you didn't like about it as well. And where does this rank in your Ross discography? I know it's 11 albums, so yeah. And also, again, don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Let's get ready to go into this new year right. So, as always, fuck this review. I'm Tatum. Peace.